Welcome back, everybody, to the live stream here at Portimao. This time we are here for the qualifying session ahead of the first ever Portuguese Grand Prix for the top class. I am once again JW97, and yet again I am joined by Dennis Graf.
Terve.
Terve indeed. So, we are here this time for the qualifying session, coming off the back of a practice session, which was very, very interesting indeed, with the top five only being separated by 600ths of a second. They, of course, consisting of Amar Carr, Franco Lopez, George Roque, Miklos Gal, and, of course, Roland Motrin. Sadly, Franco Gamba wasn't amidst all that, of course, unlike his teammate who managed to get himself within the mix there of that group who are very close knit together. Whether we'll see that in the qualifying session, it is another question. A reminder as well for anybody who did watch the practice session, we are lowering the track grip on the track because because of the fact that the lap times seem to be a little bit too quick for the top class. In real life, of course, the pole position was a 1 minute 17 in 2020 set by Lewis Hamilton, and in practice on high fuel we saw the drivers doing a 1 minute 15. So we're lowering the track grip to try and slow the lap times down if we can. So don't be too alarmed, but hopefully we get a very good session nonetheless. So you've just gone to get a quick drink, and then you'll quickly see the weather forecast. Don't know if he's back yet, of course, from getting that quick drink. So you should see the weather forecast very soon. We've already got it on the screen, but we're going to wait for you to see it. So okay, he is back. He is typing. Just to let us know that he is back, and hold them up for a little bit. Okay, so yes, he's struggling to get the drink at the moment. So
he will not
have the drink. So that's that really. Yeah, you should see the weather forecast very, 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 very soon. I don't know what. So indeed. So obviously in the practice session we had a very close session, of course. The lap times, of course, being too quick. So we should see the track the track grip reduce a little bit, so the lap time should hopefully be a tad bit slower. But anyway, obviously in that practice session there were a couple of mistakes in practice, a couple of lockups there, a near miss with the pit exit there between Daniel Fraser and Joseph Willows there, and so something very interesting to see. But of course, one thing I didn't bring up as well during the practice session, there are a few drivers out there who have driven around Portimao before. Some drivers haven't, of course, like your Joseph Willowses and your Franco Lopez's, I believe, as well, and even your Amar Cars. But other drivers out there, they have driven around here before. I'm talking about drivers like Laura Chung, who competed here during a GP2 preseason test, along with a couple of others as well. You've had George Roque, who's raced here in the past in DTM, and in fact in 2016, he actually won here when we had the chicane version of Portimao back in 2016 for DTM. Roland Motrin has driven here before in DTM as well. We've had Dudu Kirby race here. In fact, he won here last season in GP2. Jamie Griffiths has raced here before as well. And as has, I think I said somebody else has raced here before in the past, but I think I might have lost their name in translation there. But we are going to get underway. As you guys can see the weather, we've got no rain for qualifying for all three sessions. So I think without further ado, let's get into this. And whilst we wait for it to load up, guys, let us know your predictions on who you think will be knocked out in Q1. I'm going to ask your predictions if you don't mind, Dennis. Who do you think is going to get knocked out in Q1?
So I think we have both Manners, both Williams, the Haas, and the Alfa Romeo.
Okay, I'm going to go with both Manners, both Williamses. I'm going to go with, and I'm going to go with a Haas and an Alfa. So that's what I'm going to go. I think I've said that prediction quite a lot during the course of the season. So it's not intentional, guys. That's just what I think. But anyway, we're going to get underway in this practice session. The first car to come out onto the track is going to be Amar Carr in the Mercedes. He's going to be the first one on the track. The driver, of course, who topped practice just earlier on, and he's going to be the first on the track here for qualifying. All 22 cars should go out on the track, and hopefully for a lot of these drivers, they'll be hoping not to get held up on their first laps. Usually we don't see too much of an indication on the first laps. It's usually the second lap, so we see a lot of improvements being made where we do see a lot of the improvements being done with. As we run on board Amar Carr, just coming out of turn 4 now then. And he'll be heading down towards the hairpin. So I'm going to read your predictions, if you don't mind, in the stream chat, guys. So Fengshan at KF Shani has put both Manners, both Williams, a Haas and an Alpha, so same as me. Franco has put both Manners, both Alphas, a Williams and a Haas. Jafar has put both Williams, both Manners, a Haas and an Alpha. Chris has put, I'm going for both Manners, both Williams and both Haas. Laura's put both Manners, both Williams, both Haas. And mistake, she's put a prediction for someone to make a mistake there. And Ra has put both Manners, both Haas, an Alpha, and a Ferrari. Interestingly, a bit of a bold prediction there, Ra, given that, that
Ra's
both of them were nowhere near the bottom six in the practice. I know that Laura Chung at one point was down in 17th, but she was able to improve to go on a time that was equal to Roberto Gamba. But they were able to improve amongst the end. So very, very interesting indeed. So here we go then. Armar Car is about to start a lap of this magnificent Portimao circuit here in the Algarve region of Portugal, I should say. Heading down the straight then. Armar Car has just started his lap as he heads down towards turn one now. In a very fast first corner, probably down a couple of gears through into there, maybe just a one, maybe a lift off acceleration, flat through turn two, then immediately on the brakes through into turn three, slowing it all down. And you've got to be very patient on acceleration as you go up the hill through turn four, and then make your way down the straight where we could see another overtaking opportunity as you make your way down towards turn five here on the racetrack. We're not going to where the MotoGP guys are going. We're going down to this hairpin down here. Down a couple of gears where the overtaking should happen. A 21.4 for Armar Car in the first sector. Flat through turn 6 now then as you make your way towards the double right-hander of Samsung. Flat through the first one and then slowing it down through the second part of Samsung. Got to be very patient on the acceleration here because it goes uphill and then immediately drop down the hill. This is where the roller coaster effect of the track happens. Through Craig Jones, the flat out left-hander now then as they make their way through the double right-hander. I think Carr made a little mistake there going through into the left-hander. Wasn't 100% sure there, but out of Portimao we go, and he took the inner line there going through into turn 11, through turn 12, then into turn 13, the penultimate hairpin on the track as we now go into the penultimate corner of Sagres. These very long right-handed hairpin now then on the racetrack as you've got to be very patient. Obviously very easy to lose the back end as it does drop downhill as you in the middle of the corner. Now into the final corner of Gap, and flat out right-hander then as you make your way down the straight onto the pit straight and across the line goes Armar Car. What's the benchmark of time going to be? A 1 minute 16.667. Here comes Gal then as he's 200 down off him as he goes into second place. De Rosa crosses the line, slots to third. Bernd crosses the line, goes to third himself. Here comes Jake Galloway, the winner of the Chinese Grand Prix. Across the line he goes, and only fifth. Not a very good first lap there for Jake Galloway as P5 goes Keep Up. Videri crosses the line, P5 for him as well. Here comes Gabriel Gomez, meanwhile, goes into 7th. Dudu Kirby now then making his way across the line, and he goes into 9th position. George Rote crosses the line, slots into 4th. Chris Chatfield goes 7th. Martinez comes out of the final turn. Across the line goes the Manor driver. Where is he going to emerge? Goes into 12th. P3 for Franco Lopez. I don't know if he got held up there by Martinez. Fraser goes into 14th behind Martinez. Roberto Gamba crosses the line, goes into 10th. Joseph Willows in the McLaren crosses the line, goes into 11th place, as now we've got Franco Gamba. Across the line he will now go, and he goes into 6th. Roland Motrin, who ended his podium drought last time out in Hockenheim, of course. Slots only 12th, not a very good first lap there for Roland. Felix Sontag goes into 13th position as Jamie Griffiths now then comes across the line, and he goes into 17th position as Amelia Wilson now then comes across the line and goes into 20th position, 2.7 seconds off of Armar Car. Here comes Laura Chung. Looked like she was getting a little bit ragged on the exit there at the final turn. Only goes into 12th that time. By there, the first run's done. It's Armar Car at the top with Gal in second and Lopez in third, but a very disappointing first lap for Motrin and you'd have to say Galloway.
And also for Willows, of course, with was it 13, 15, 17, they all need to improve massively. But also I need to mention good first lap from Byrne and Federi.
Indeed, Galloway finding himself in the drop zone at this point in time. The 6 drivers in the drop zone at the moment: Galloway, Griffiths, Kirby, Martinez, Wilson, and Fraser. We did see, I think, Lopez get held up a little bit in traffic, if I remember rightly, on his first lap. So maybe there's a little bit more lap time to find for him. Yuri said the lap times are now fine now, which is good to see. So it seems that he sorted that one out. So here is Galloway down in 17th position at the moment, as the Alpha Tauri there having to go around the Renault of Evan Byrne, of course. As Videri back into his garage. Currently up in 8th at the moment. A very good first lap for Andrea Videri. Whether he can hold on to around about that sort of position by the end of Q1 is going to be another question. As here is Kirby down in 19th position at this point in time. Of course, not a very good first lap for Willows, down in 15th, and not a very good first lap for Motrin, being down in 13th position, given that he finished second last time out in Hockenheim. The two Ferraris coming ahead of him at the moment of Roberto Gamba and Loa Chung. Roberto currently ahead of Chung again so far, beating Chung in qualifying 3-1 at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. So looking to make it 4-1 here in Portimao if he can, as Martinez gets wheeled back into the garage, as he'll be waiting to go out again for his second flying lap of Q1. We'll be interested to see who's going to be the first to go out onto the track as Wilson peels into her box, as we wait for the next set of cars to go out for their second flying laps. Usually one gets left behind for this one. It'll be very interesting to see who that is. It's going to be Miklos Gau who's going to be the first to go out onto the racetrack. He currently finds himself up in second place, 200ths off of Amar Kar, his former teammate, in fact, from 2016 to 17, when Kar was actually racing at Red Bull. And so Gau currently 200ths off him at this point in time, as he makes his way through into turn number 4 there, as he makes his way down towards turn 5. In fact, Amar Kar has also come out onto the racetrack as well, so the current top 2 are the only ones out on track at the moment. There is some more movement though on the mini-map, judging obviously from the mini-map. There's some more cars coming out, including Martinez, De Rosa, Gomez as well has just come out onto the racetrack as well. So they're all coming out there. Of course, as mentioned a little bit earlier, only one car usually gets left behind on the second run, so it'll be very interesting to see who that one will be, as Gal makes his way through into Portimao. Very creative corner name, if I say so myself, even though the track is called Portimao, or located in Portimao, I should say, in the city of Portimao, which is, of course, in the Algarve region of Portugal. So, around Sagres then goes Gal. He'll be starting his second flying lap very soon. He'll be hoping by the time he gets down to turn 1, there's no traffic. We did see in the GP2 qualifying session yesterday that there were some traffic problems. I wonder if that's going to be the case here in the top class. As Gal starts his second flying lap, he'll be hoping that there's nobody on the on the left-hand side coming out of the pit lane. He makes his way through into turn 1. Good. And it looks like there's no traffic. Well, there is, but luckily I think it's a little bit too far away for Miklos Gal. It is a Haas. He'll be hoping he doesn't catch up with it, of course. Through into turn 4 now then. Let's see what his first sector is like. I don't know how far away he is, but he's 4,000s up in the first sector. There is so far a bit of a gap between himself and Haas at the moment. So he's 4,000s up on Car in the first sector at this point in time. So far not getting held up by that Haas, and he'll be hoping that remains the case there. Through into the double right-hander of Samsung now then. And see now makes his way out of turn 8, making his way down towards Craig Jones now then. Flicking it in through the left-hander and then into the double right-hander of Portimao. Let's see what his second sector is like. What sort of line does he take through there? He takes the wide line through into there, which may cost him because he's now 3 tenths down on Car in the second sector and 3 tenths down on his personal best. So that hasn't helped him at all in this instance, as he's getting very close now to the back of the Haas that's in front. As now through into the Sagres corner now then goes Gal, making his way now then towards the final corner, and onto the pit straight now then goes the Hungarian. Down the pit straight and across the line will go Miklos Gal, and what is the lap time going to be? And he doesn't improve, remains in second place. Car meanwhile crosses the line and remains on a 1 minute 16.6 at the moment. As we look at Martinez, is up on his personal best in the second sector, 1.5 seconds off of Car. So far Martinez currently in 20th, so he could get a little bit high if he keeps this up in the last sector, but we will have to wait and see. Martinez now then through into the final corner and onto the pit straight now then will go the Filipino, the 2018 DTM champion. Martinez crosses the line and goes up to 19th, so only getting 1 place there then. So Martinez up to P19 as Gomez doesn't improve. Roberto Gamba remains in P11. Jake Galloway is on improvement. He needs to really, but it's only up to 14. But he gets out of the drop zone as Chatfield goes up into 9th. Aderi crosses the line, remains in P8 for the moment. Here comes Evan Byrne, who at the moment is up in 4th position and remains in 4th for the moment. So here comes Q-Pock, who's not up on his personal best in the second sector. Q-Pock at the moment currently in P10 and remains in P10 for the moment. George Roke across the line and remains in P5. Joseph Willows is up on his personal best. He's currently down in 16th. He's in the cusp. Across the line goes the 2-time champion, and he loses time in the last sector. Remains in 16th position as Kirby goes up to 19th, as Motrin goes up to 9th. So as Lopez goes fastest by term. So Lopez a 1 minute 16.5. Daniel Fraser improves, but only up to 21st position. Laura Chung is on an improvement. She crosses the line and goes up to 5th. A big improvement for Laura Chung there. Gets
good lap.
into the top 5. Franco Gamba, meanwhile, is on an improvement. He's currently in 7th position. Across the line goes the Italian, and he goes up to 6th position, gets in front of George Rogue at the moment. Here comes Amelia Wilson, he's on an improvement, currently in last position. Across the line goes the 2019 FE champion, goes up to 20th in front of Martinez. So Fraser now down to last position as a result. And I think those are the second runs done there, I think, and they are. So at the moment, Lopez now finds himself at the top of the car, and Gal. And but Willow's in the cusp at the moment, still in 16th position, but could be in a little bit of trouble if he's not careful. And Galloway, whilst he was able to improve, it was only up to 14th that time by.
Yeah, Galloway didn't improve much to be safe, and same goes for Willows. Now he really has to have his fade on to be safe and go to Q2, because it's not that far off from Gomez, 2.5 tenths. But yeah, let's see what happens.
Oh, indeed. It seems like Joseph Willows is having a bit of the Daniel Ricciardo look at the moment with the McLaren when it comes to one-lap pace. And so Willows will be hoping that this doesn't become a trend throughout the course of the season. Because so far, at the start of the season, he's been outpaced by De Rosa in qualifying. He seems to be struggling. He seems to have better race pace, but he'll be hoping that's not a trend to come throughout the course of the season as we wait for the next set of laps to happen. Whether or not these will be the last laps, I'm not sure. In fact, I don't think they will be, because Car is coming out onto the track with 6 and a few 35 seconds to go around that time. So Car is going to be the first on the track after these runs. So Car out on the track he goes as he just makes his way through into the first turn. Now in towards turn 3. Will now go as he flicks the car in through the right and then into left-hander, and he will soon now make his way down towards the hairpin, and the car will go down towards the hairpin now. They're on the track, so into the left-hander he goes, using a bit of the curb on the outside. Into turn 6 and then into turn 7 and 8 he will soon go, as there's been a few more cars that have now come out in the form of Gal, Gomez and Griffiths. Gomez and Griffiths definitely need to get out there because they're currently in the drop zone at this point in time. Meanwhile, Sontag currently up in 15th, so far could get himself into Q2. He's had some brilliant qualifying sessions as Felix Sontag this season, but it just seems that he always seems to get bad luck in the races, similar to what George Russell was like in real life with Williams. Although Felix is a lot more experienced in OC terms when compared to George Russell in real life. It's fair to say a bit of a parallel difference between the two there. So anyway, as we now look at Armar Carr, he makes his way through the final turn, and he'll be hoping, like with Mikko Scal previous lap, that he doesn't get any traffic, and be very interested to see what line he takes going through into the second part of Portimao. After Craig Jones, that is. So heading down towards the first corner, is there any traffic on the right-hand side? There is. Will we catch up to it? And he does. Yes. The Renault that he caught up to, so this has impeded Armar Carr's lap. So the Renault definitely not doing him any favours, and it looks like it's Jake Galloway because he's got blue at the top. I know that Evan Burnham's got green on the top of his engine cover, so I believe that is Galloway that's in front because he's got blue on the engine cover, and I was correct, it is Jake Galloway. So heading down towards turn 5, Carr trying to attempt to move on Galloway into turn 5, but he backs out of it at the last moment. 1.2 down in the first sector, so yeah, this lap is basically a write-off, but not like it's important anyway because I think Carr is probably safe. I'd find it hard to believe if he gets knocked out in Q1, so I think he's pretty much safe being up in second position, but stranger things have happened in the OC, that's for sure. So yeah. Through into Craig Jones now then, into the double right-hander, and he takes the wider line through into there. It seems to be a thing when they're behind traffic, so something to really keep an eye on, really, during these lap times. Whenever they're behind another car, they seem to like take a wider line going through into the into Portimao there, so a bit interesting there. As now through into the second to last corner of Sagres now then, all making their way down towards the final corner. And although Carr will get a healthy bit of slipstream from Galloway, it's not going to do him any favours given he's already been held up by the Renault. Carr crosses the line and doesn't improve by 2.3 seconds compared to Lopez, that is. Griffiths is up on his personal best, and obviously he's in the drop zone, so let's see what Griffiths can do on this lap now. Then he did lose some time though in the middle sector, so it'll be very interesting to see what it's like in the last sector. Griffiths now then comes across the line. Can he improve? And he can, but remains in 18th position, so not able to improve on position. Gomez, meanwhile, is in the drop zone. He doesn't improve. Whether that's his last lap or not, we'll have to wait and see. As we look at Miklos Gal, who's going to cross the line now then and remains in third position. Here comes Chris Chatfield. Cross the line he goes in the Alpha Tauri, remains where he is. Martinez is up on his personal best. Across the line he will go, and he goes up to 20th, gets in front of Amelia Wilson, but still in the drop zone. Whether that was his last lap, we'll have to wait and see. Kupok improves to go up into 8th position, so an improvement there. De Rosa currently stuck behind the Williams of Felix Sontag. I don't think he's on improving at the moment, and De Rosa currently in 9th, so I think he's safe anyway, but he does not improve on that lap either way. Videri doesn't improve, remains where he is. Amelia Wilson about to start lap. Here is Franco Lopez, the man who's currently at the top of the timing sheets. Across the line goes the current championship leader, and he remains on a 1:16.5. Evan Byrne crosses the line himself, remains in 4th position. George Roke, not an improvement, currently down in 7th position and remains in 7th. Laura Chung remains in 5th. Had a good session, it must be said, for Laura Chung. Whether she can keep that up in Q2 is another question. Roberto Gamba remains where he is, as Roland Motrin goes up to 8th, so an improvement there for the Hungarian, as Galloway's on an improvement, and he goes up to 12th, so an improvement there for Jake Galloway. Kirby is on improvement, but it's only up to 19th, and that might have been his last lap, so I think Kirby might be out, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Willows, meanwhile, is on improvement. He was up on the second sector, and way up, in fact, on his second sector. In fact, half a second quicker in the second sector, so it'll be very interesting to see what Willows can do. He probably feels like he needs to improve, given that he's in the cusp of being knocked out here. So Joseph Willows, across the line he will go in the McLaren, and he goes up to 8th. A brilliant time there for Willows, a big improvement for the two-time champion. Take that, Rahul Patel. Now coming around the final turn now then goes Franco Gamba, as he's currently in 6th position. I don't think he's on an improvement, but across the line then goes the Italian, and he does not improve, remains in 6th position. Here is Felix Sontag, who's currently in the cusp of being knocked out. He's currently in 16th, but so far hanging on for dear life at this point in time. Felix Sontag crosses the line, no improvement for him at this point in time. Here comes Wilson, who's up on her personal best. Where can she end up? This will be her last lap, judging from how much time there is left, and she goes up to 20th. So she's out, but she's out-qualified Martinez at the moment. I don't know if Martinez has enough to go back out there, but I sincerely doubt it. But we'll wait and see, of course, if anybody else goes out on the track, as we still have a few seconds left. If it goes below 1:16, then that will confirm that people are out and remain where they are. But we will wait and see, of course. Anything could still happen in these remaining 14 seconds, given the length of this track. As the Haas is going out there, and that is Daniel Fraser. So Fraser is going to have one more chance to try and get himself out of the drop zone there. So Felix Sontag has got to keep his fingers crossed, essentially, because that was his last lap we just saw there. So Fraser is going to have one more chance to get himself around and try and get himself out of the drop zone. But in terms of everyone else, Gomez, Griffiths, Kirby, Wilson and Martinez, those 5 are out. So those 5 are out. Whether Fraser is out as well, that is another question. Sontag is going to have to keep his fingers crossed if he wants to make it into Q2. But from 1st to 15th, they've all made it into Q2. So that's that then. So Fraser will have one more lap, as mentioned, to try and get out of last place.
Yeah, that is indeed.
Indeed so. So, Fraser now then, just coming out of Samsung now then, and there'll be some other cars out there who'll just go out there just to probably just get a mileage run, so to speak, especially the guys who are who are of course out of qualifying, that being Gomez, Griffiths, Kirby, Wilson and Martinez. So whether Fraser is going to be the other one that joins them is another question. Whether it be him or Sontag, we will wait and see in about a few seconds' time. As Fraser now then just goes around the second to last corner of Sagres, but at the same time he'll be hoping he doesn't get any traffic by the time he gets around there, because that will wreck any chance he'll have of advancing into the next session. So coming out the final turn then,
it's enough.
Daniel Fraser, and he does enough, in fact. But is there any traffic? Let's have a look. So going down towards the first corners, the checkered flagman in the background there just comes out through the first turn, and it looks like it's all clear for Daniel Fraser, so he's going to get a clean lap in. Is the 2019 DTM champion. Fraser now then, through the left-hander he will now go, using all the curb on the outside of turn 4. Let's see what his first sector is like, and he's up on his personal best by a tenth. He needs to probably gain a little bit more, in fact, because he's 8 tenths away from Felix Sontag. He needs to have a mega second sector and a third sector if he wants to advance to the next part of qualifying. As Fraser now then goes around the double right-hander of Samsung now then, kicking the car in through the right-hander. using a little bit of the curb on the outside, making his way down the hill towards Craig Jones and into the double right-hander of Portimao. And obviously taking the inner line in because there's no traffic around him. Let's see what his second sector is like. He's 6 tenths up, in fact. He's gained a lot in that second sector. So he can do this. If he can try and gain another 2 tenths in that last sector, he could push Sontag out of qualifying. So let's see if he can do that in this last sector. Can he find a further 2 tenths to get himself up into Q2 then? So around the final turn then goes Daniel Fraser as he makes his way onto the pit straight and across the line goes the 2019 DTM champion. Can he make his way into Q2? No,
Not
he can't.
quite.
He only just misses out by 11 thousandths. He only just misses out. Fraser gets up into 17th. So unlucky for him indeed. But Sontag can count his lucky stars because he has advanced into Q2. The top 3, of course, being Lopez, Carr, and Gal, and your bottom 6 being Daniel Fraser, Gabriel Gomez, Jamie Griffiths, Dudu Kirby, Amelia Wilson, and Rosetta Martinez, the 2 manners bringing up the rear of the field. So what do you make of Q1 overall, Dennis?
Yeah, it was quite good, I would say. Of course, the final lap for Fraser was very exciting. It was very close at the end, but unfortunately, he misses out by only 11 thousandths of a second, which ironically is a starting number. So, yeah, it wasn't
indeed. Even Felix Sontag in the stream chat there counting his lucky stars on that one. He's just mentioned there it's the 4th Q2 appearance he's had this season. As mentioned a little bit earlier, he's been very good in qualifying this season, has Felix Sontag, and he's kept that up in this session as well by advancing into the next part of qualifying for the 4th time this season. So we're just gonna wait a little bit, guys. I'm just gonna try and get the photo up for Twitter whilst Yui sorts everything out ready for Q2. So just bear with, and we'll be with you in just a moment. I apologise if I go a little bit silent for the brief time. So don't be alarmed on that. So that's that then. I've just been able to catch a photo there, Franco Lopez, just in the nick of time. Sometimes it's about timing, really, to get some of these photos there. And I am not singing the Nickelback song because we did kind of combine 2 memes into one there, the graph remover and the photograph meme from Nickelback, the photograph remover. So that's what we said before.
That's funny.
I think the practice stream, I believe we said that. So that's that really. So anyway, so that up is, and we were hoping to get ready for Q2. So whilst we wait then, guys, let us know your prediction on who you think will get knocked out in Q2. I'll ask you a little bit later on when we get there. Of course, Dennis, what your predictions will be just a little bit later on.
Okie dokie.
So, for everybody else, you can leave your prediction in the stream chat if you want, and I'll read them when I get there, of course. And let me just do this. From
so let's see what the predictions from those guys is. Nothing there yet. Now it is. We'll let you read it later on.
I'm nearly finished. I'll get there. I will get there. I'm just nearly finished. Just trimming off the edges of this tweet, I guess you could call it. So as we've got the stream back up, ready to go, guys. So we're getting Q2 underway very, very soon. And so there we go. And Q2 is getting underway, as you can see on your screen, as I've just put the tweet out. So what are your predictions then for Q2 then, Dennis, as we wait for the no-lean screen?
So I think Sontag will be out and Federi. Then it will be interesting. I think going bold, Racing Point. Then a Ferrari. Then an AlphaTauri and the McLaren.
Okay, I'm going to go with Federi, Sontag, McLaren, I'm afraid. I'm going to have to say that. I think I'm going to go with a Ferrari as well. I'm going to say a Renault as well, because Galloway did look a little bit off pace in that session. Whether he can improve on that is another question. But I am going to say a Renault as a bold prediction, and I'm also going to say an AlphaTauri. So, anyway, we're getting on the way for Q2 as Franco Lopez is going to be the first on the track for Q2. So he'll be the first on the racetrack, the man who topped Q1, of course. As I now am going to read your predictions. So Franco Gama says Felix, Videri, both AlphaTauris and Ferrari and a McLaren. Ra says Felix, Andrea, a Ferrari, an AT and a McLaren. Fung Shanek says Sontag, Videri, an AlphaTauri, a McLaren and both Ferraris. Ra putting a putting a little joke there saying McLaren, definitely Kiro, don't worry Joe. So anyway, as the racing point there, having to wait for a gap in the traffic there as they were all steaming out, that being George Road, of course, as they're all filtering their way now and out on the track as Lopez makes his way towards the double right-hander of Samsung there. So 20 viewers in the stream, thank you for that, guys. And as we are going to be preparing for the first laps of Q2 very, very soon, as Lopez, who topped Q1, is just making his way through the double right-hander of Portimao just after the Craig Jones corner as he's into the roller coaster section of the track, that being, of course, most of the middle sector and part of the beginning of sector 3 as well. As now through the hairpin there goes Lopez as he makes his way through the Sagres penultimate corner, and then into the final turn will go Franco Lopez. Luckily for him, there is nobody in the pit lane to hold him up, so it looks like Lopez is going to get a clean first lap here in Q2 as Lopez starts his lap now then as he makes his way down towards the first two turns on the racetrack now, then making his way to turn 1 using a bit of the curve on the inside, a little bit of curve on the outside through turn 2, and then into turn 3 goes Lopez. And it'd be very important to see what the first sector is like compared to everybody else, which is on the top left of your screen, of course, guys, to do a comparison. And making his way towards the end of sector 1, and it's a 21.6 for Franco Lopez in the first sector. Let's see what it's like compared to everybody else, of course, as he just makes his way through into the hairpin. A 21.8 for Sontag in the first sector, so 2 tenths off of Lopez that time by. As Lopez goes through into Samsung there, so we've got a little bit of a pause between lap times. At the moment, a 21.5 for Willows. In fact, that's up on Lopez's first sector, in fact. Oh, no, that's a 21.9. That's the screen being fuzzy there on my end. I do apologise. It's 21.9 there. I was getting a little bit excited there, but I think I got a bit too ahead of myself. I will say, though, 21.666 for Roberto Garma, the devil's phone number there for him. Just a little bit off of Lopez in the first sector. In the second sector, it's a 51.0 for Lopez as he now makes his way towards the final corner. And now into the final turn goes Franco Lopez as he makes his way onto the pit straight. And Lopez now then is coming across the line, and it's a 1:17.099. Not the quickest we've seen. We've seen a 1 minute 16.5 in Q1, of course. Sontag across the line, 6 tenths off to go into second place. It wasn't the best first lap for Lopez, I must point out as well. But here comes Willows now then. Around the final turn, he goes in the McLaren, heading down the pit straight, and across the line he will now go. Where's he going to place the McLaren? And it's P3 behind Sontag. Not a very good first lap for Willows. P2 for De Rosa. Byrne, meanwhile, goes into third, slots behind De Rosa. Here comes Chatfield across the line, and he goes into sixth. That's because, of course, Cupot used a little bit of slipstream there to go to second. Made that third now because Roberto Gama has gone to second. Galloway crosses the line and goes into eighth. Laura Chung crosses the line, goes into seventh. George Rowe crosses the line, only fourth for him. Here comes Amar Khan across the line. He will go, and he goes fastest by 3 tenths of a second, or 1 minute 16.7. Not the quickest we've seen, though, because in Q1 we had a 1 minute 16.5. 8th for Videri, 7th for Motrin. Here comes Mikos Gal in the Red Bull, and he slots into second, 2 tenths behind Carr. Franco Gama crosses the line. He goes into third with that lap, just a few hundredths off of his own teammate there. And though the first lap's done, so it's Carr at the top, followed by the 2 Red Bulls of Gal and Franco Gama. Lopez in 4th position, but very interesting first few laps, it must be said. Willows with not a very good first lap, and Galloway again struggling in Q2.
Yeah, same goes, I would say, for Chatfield. Not that good lap from him. Also, Chunk dropped a lot of pace compared to Q1. But also, again, it's good laps from Federi and Sontag. They're in P11, P12, so good job from them, I would say.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, as mentioned earlier, Amar Khan 2 tenths off of Franco Lopez's Q1 time from earlier on. Of course, Lopez did a 1 minute 16.560 in Q1, and so just under 2 tenths behind is Amar Khan at this point in time. As Sontag now then will be wheeled back into the garage, as he will be preparing for his second flying lap. Usually we see lap times being quicker on the second lap, as we saw in Q1. Whether that will be the case here in Q2, that is going to be a question mark. But so far in the drop zone, we have Videri, Sontag, Chung, Chatfield, Galloway, and Willows. And so we're just waiting now for the second lap to get underway. It's Franco Gamba and I believe Miklos have just come into the pits. Both Red Bulls now in the garage. And so as Federi will be wheeled back into his garage pretty soon as we wait for another set of cars to go out onto the racetrack. As we have just over 9 minutes to go in Q2. And Felix, of course, being the last garage out of the cars remaining, of course. Just want to point that one out before anybody tries to correct me there. But anyway, just over 9 minutes to go in this session. Just waiting for some movement in the garages, which hasn't come just yet at the moment. Just under 9 minutes to go now then, as the seconds tick by in Q2. And not quite hearing an engine note yet at this point in time. Hopefully there'll be one in just a little bit. There is now some movement, as I can see. Who's going to be the first on track? It's the Renault of Evan Byrne, who's just in the cusp of the top 10 at the moment. So Byrne is going to be the first one on the racetrack. There's somebody else who's behind him as well. In fact, Sontag's just gone out as well behind whoever the second car is behind Byrne. So Byrne is now out on the track, currently in P10. Whether he'll be able to find an improvement is another question. I think that's a Mercedes that's behind. It is. It's Franco Lopez, in fact, that's just come out onto the racetrack, the man who was first on track on the previous runs. But Byrne will be the first on this occasion as they make their way down towards turn number 5. Byrne, like with Lopez, hoping there'll be no traffic on the exit of the pit lane by the time he gets back around. As he goes around the flat-out left-hander before making his way into the double right of Samsung. So around the right-hander, he will now go now. Then he uses a little bit more curve than what we've seen some drivers do on the exit of Samsung there. So that's that really. As so far, the people out of the drop zone, only Sontag and Willows are currently out on the racetrack at the moment. The other four, Videri, Chong, Chatfield, and Galloway, just waiting around for the moment. And for Galloway, he'll be hoping he can improve because so far in these sessions he's been off a little bit off the pace. But Derry has now gone out onto the track. He's currently just outside top 10 threshold at the moment as Byrne prepares his lap, as will Lopez, who's behind him as well. Lopez will be hoping not to catch up with Byrne, as there's not that much of a distance between the Irishman and the Argentine at the moment. But Byrne makes his way down towards the first corner. Luckily, no traffic for him on the exit there, judging from the mini-map. So it should be a clean lap for the Irish veteran. Now through into turns 3 and 4 he will go, and let's see what his first sector is like compared to his personal best. His personal best in the first sector was a 21.780, and he's 2 tenths down on his personal best in the first sector, 4 tenths behind Carr in the first sectors. Meantime, Lopez is also not up on his personal best in the first sector, but only by 0.06 of a second, 1 tenth off of Armar Carr at the moment. Now through into Samsung now then, using a tad bit of curb on the exit. Lopez, I don't know if he's going to get close to Byrne. I don't think he will, but we will see anyway. Through into the Portimao corners. Through the right-hander we go. And again, 2 tenths down in the second sector. But Byrne, like we saw a little bit in GP2 yesterday, not losing too much time in that second sector, surprisingly. Let's see if he can find a little bit more time. I doubt he will improve, but you never know. He could still be able to find some pace in this last sector. But again, I don't think he'll be able to improve. Around the final turn then goes Evan Byrne, making his way onto the pit straight. And Byrne comes across the line, and he doesn't improve, remains in 10th position, nor does Lopez either. Sontag not on an improvement either, currently in 12th position at the moment in the Williams. Across the line will go the German, and he remains where he is at the moment. De Rosa also not on an improvement at the moment, currently lying in 8th position at the moment for McLaren. De Rosa making his way onto the pit straight. Across the line will go the Polish driver, remains in 8th position. His teammate Willows, meanwhile, is on an improvement, but can he get himself out of the drop zone? Across the line he goes, and only up to 14th. Motrin, meanwhile, goes up into 6th position, an improvement there for the Hungarian, as Armar Carr across the line remains on a 1 minute 16.7, as Gal does not improve. Roke improves to go up into P8, so a little bit of an improvement, but still not ideal. It did look like he got held up, though, a little bit on that lap. Roberto Gamba currently in P5 at the moment. He's having a very good session. Roberto remains in P5 at the moment as Gamba's up on his personal best in the middle sector. Let's see what it's like compared to Armar Carr. Across the line goes Gamba, and he goes up to second. 9 hundredths off of Carr at the moment. So a big improvement there for Franco Gamba as Kupok doesn't improve. Videri, across the line he goes in the Alfa Romeo. He doesn't improve. Chung, meanwhile, goes up to 11th, still just outside the top 10, but in big improvement nonetheless. Galloway doesn't improve, remains in 16th position as Chatfield went up into 14th position to get himself above Joseph Willows. And that's that with these sets of runs. So at the moment, we still have Kart at the top of the session, but he only finds himself just under a 10th now ahead of Franco Gamba. The Red Bull so far in these sessions showing some very good pace at the moment.
Yeah, it's true. They are very quick around here. And yet, of course, they have big chances to attack Mercedes from in the Q3 for pole, if it stands like this.
I did say that as well, Felix, a little bit earlier on, that Willows' performances in qualifying are a bit of a reminder of Daniel Ricciardo in real life. Seems to have good race pace, but in qualifying just doesn't seem to get it hooked up when he needs it to. And it seems that Willows and Ricciardo have some similar parallels going on at the moment in the OC. So whether it will be the thing for the entirety of the season, it's going to be another question. As Sontag gets wheeled back into his garage, and just under 4 minutes to go in this qualifying session, in Q2, I should say, that is, not in this qualifying session, in Q2, that is, as Chatfield is coming back into the pits. Now, who's going to be able to get out this time, Bo? Because we've got just under 3 3/4 minutes to go in this session. Whether everybody can get out for one more flying lap, it remains to be seen. If they get out after the 1 minute 16 hold, just under the 1 minute 16, then they're probably going to be in a bit of trouble, really. So if they come out with like 1 minute 15 seconds to go, then they won't be able to get a lap in. But if they get out before the 1 minute 16 threshold, then they should be okay to do another lap. But we will see. As the Renault, speaking of which, is going to be doing that, there's Evan Byrne, who is still in the cusp of the top 10 and probably still feels a little bit under pressure. As he's probably could be a chance that both Renaults could get eliminated in this session. But we will wait and see on that as Byrne just makes his way through the first corner there. And so now into the turn 3. As now into turn 4 we go. And he will soon be starting this would be his final flying lap of Q2, just judging by how much time there is left. Also, it's just Byrne at the moment. He's on the racetrack at the moment. He's the only one out there. Will anybody in the drop zone get out on track to try and see if they can try and get themselves into the final part of qualifying? Lopez is now out on track, as Dennis has just alluded to there. Anybody else going to join them at the moment? There is some more movement in the pit lane, but I don't know who they are until the pit symbol comes off after that's their name. Carr has gone out onto the track, so Carr's gone out onto the track. A few more making their way out. De Rose has gone out on the track, out of Willows. Willows needs to, but he'd be hoping not to get held up by his own teammate, De Rose, if he can help that. So that's that, really. As now you've got Evan Byrne now then, who's just going around the right-hander, Sagres, and now into the final turn he will go. He's been hoping there'll be no traffic on the exit because there are still a few cars in the pit lane at this point in time. Down the pit straight, as Byrne is now going to start his final flying lap of Q2, and he'll be hoping it'll be enough to get him into the next part of qualifying. And Galloway's gone out onto the track, so he'll get one more chance to make his way through, as Byrne's just passing AlphaTauri there. Will that car in front hold him up? That is the question. The Alfa Romeo, we'll have to wait and see, of course. He didn't hold him up on that occasion, but whether he'll hold him up for the rest of the lap is another question. That Alfa Romeo being Videri, of course, who's in the drop zone. Now coming out of turn 4 and making his way onto the straight, and he is only 18 thousandths off his personal best in the first sector, so a little bit better than his second lap, but still not up on his personal best at the moment is Evan Byrne. The left-hander he will now go, as he'll now make his way towards the double right-hander of Samsung. Through the right, and then into turn 8 we will go. Now out of the right-hander then goes Byrne as he makes his way down the hill towards Craig Jones, flicking the car in through the left-hander, and then into the double right of Portimao, and he's going to take the wide line, and he's made a big lock-up, in fact, as well, at the same time, I believe, as well. So that's not good for Byrne. It looks like he's not going to get an improvement as a result. So that's that for him, really, as now Byrne makes his way through the second to last corner of Sagres now then. With the right hand he goes, as he will now make his way towards the final corner of Gap. To the final corner and onto the pit straight now then goes Evan Byrne, as he will now come across the line And I don't think this is going to be an improvement, but you never know with GP4.
Nope.
And nope, it's not an
Nope.
improvement at all. As Lopez is up on his personal best in the second sector, but he's not going to be able to improve. Just wondering if everybody went out on the track there whilst we were talking there. Did everybody get out on track before the 1 minute 16 mark? I'm trying to remember there. Anyway, Lopez now then making his way down the straight now then. Can he improve on his lap? He can. He goes up to third, so he gets himself in front of Miklos Gal. Carr, meanwhile, the man who's currently at the top of the timing sheet, is not on an improvement. So Carr making his way through the final turn and onto the pit straight now then will go the Brit. And across the line goes Armar Carr. And he does not improve. I mean, it's on 1 minute 6.16, sorry, 0.7. Is De Rosa's on improving, as is his teammate Willows. Willows needs to make sure he can get it into the top 10. De Rosa across the line, where can he place himself? Goes up to 8th. Joseph Willows, can he get into the top 10? No, he can't. He just misses out. He goes into 11th position. He only just misses out on getting into the top 10 there. So Willows once again out in Q2. Motrin didn't improve. Here comes Felix Sontag now. Then across the line, he will now go, and he does not improve. He's out. He remains in 14th. Roke doesn't improve either. As now here comes Franco Gamba, who's on improvement yet again. The Italian crosses the line, and he goes up to, and he improves, but remains in second. So he's now 29 thousandths behind Carr. Can Galloway get out of the drop zone? No, he can't. For the second race in a row, he is out. He goes into 15th position. Videri doesn't improve, remains in 13th. He is out. Chung, last chance for her to improve, and it doesn't look like she is at the moment to get herself out of the drop zone. Across the line goes Laura Chung, and Chung doesn't improve. Meanwhile, Chatfield got up into 10th position, meaning that Byrne is out. So both Renaults are out. Byrne is down to 11th position. Roberto Gamba doesn't improve. Chatfield got up into 10th position. Meanwhile, so Chatfield might have made himself into Q3 as a result. Roberto Gamba didn't improve, remains in 5th position, and that is those runs done with. So as a result, Carr tops the session from Franco Gamba in second and Franco Lopez third, but your bottom six: Evan Byrne, Joseph Willows, Laura Chong, Andre Videri, Felix Sontag, and Jake Galloway. I think the biggest shock you'd have to say there, Dennis, both Renaults out in Q2.
Yeah, indeed, that's a big shock for the team. They definitely hope there could be at least one car, or if both cars into Q3, but no, both are out. It's a big disappointment for them, especially for Galloway.
Indeed, big shot there. Indeed, I honestly didn't. I did predict that Renault would be out as a bold prediction, but I didn't expect both of them to be knocked out. That's a big shock there, indeed, given the good start to the season that Renault has had this season. But both Byrne and Galloway will have a lot of work to do tomorrow from 11th and 16th, respectively. So yeah, a lot of work for them tomorrow. As I now am going to sort out the tweet for Twitter. So just bear with, guys. And in the meantime, guys, you can make your prediction as on who you think will take pole position for tomorrow's Portuguese Grand Prix. And in fact, you can also predict at the same time if you want to predict the remainder of the top 10, if you like. But yeah, as we come off there of qualifying, so that's that really. And so that's that. So let's just get this up on Twitter then. So.
And of course, good job by Chris Chatfield to get the Q3 again. He was very happy about this.
Indeed, a big shot there indeed, because like I said, I didn't expect a Renault to be eliminated, but Chris Chatfield providing the shock of both Renaults being eliminated there. So good lap there from Chris Chatfield to get himself into the final part of qualifying there, and ensuring that both AlphaTauris, in fact, get through into Q3, because Kupok is also in Q3 as well. So be very interested to see how the AlphaTauris do in this session.
Yeah, indeed.
Out in Q2 are as follows. Of course, they were Byrne, Willows, Chung, Videri, Sontag, and Galloway. And there we go. The tweet has been sent. So now we just wait to see. Just wait for Yuri to do what he needs to do, which he's done quite quickly, in fact, as I was talking there, and get us ready for Q3, which I believe is on your screen now, in fact. So without further ado, let's get into the final part of qualifying. So who do you believe is going to get pole position, Dennis?
So I will predict the top three. So third, I think we have Franco Gamba. And in P2, I think it will be Franco Lopez. Yeah, pole will go for my prediction to Amaka.
I'm going to go with Franco Lopez, I think. I'm going to go with the other Mercedes on that one. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Lopez for pole. So, what's everybody else's predictions in the stream chat? Fang Chanet says that Carl will get pole. Franco Gamba believes that Carl will get pole position. And Zachary Fitzwater saying as a joke, the pace car. In fact, what is the pace car they put out there? It looks like a Range Rover they put out there. So he's probably predicting a Range Rover is going to get pole position. But anyway, George Roke is the first car on track for Q3. And the Racing Point surprisingly not having the pace in qualifying so far than what we saw in practice. So, but we will wait and see if they're able to improve in Q3. Maybe they're saving up a little bit in terms of pace. Franco Gamba has come out on the track, as has Roberto Gamba, ensuring that one Ferrari made it through into Q3. Also on track, we have Omar Khan, many people's prediction for pole position, many people's favourite for pole. Franco Gamba has come out onto the racetrack, as has Nicolas Gal and Roland Motrin. Those guys have come out onto the track as well. I think that's 7 cars who's now on the track, so just 3 more left to go to fizzle out, which will include the 2 Alpha Tauris and who's the other one? De Rosa, that's the one. Kirishima De Rosa. So the sole McLaren that's left this session. In fact, De Rosa's just come out, as is Q-Poc, and we just wait for Chris Chatfield. Just give me a moment, guys.
Yes, Chatfield is now on the track. Here comes Gerg. George Roke out of the penultimate corner, out of the final corner, to start his first lap in Q3. As Joe seems to have problems at the moment or something. Let's get on with
Didn't
it.
have problems. I said I was going somewhere, Dennis. Lol.
Oh, lol. Yeah.
Anyway, George Roke has just started his lap now. Then, as we have a look at what's going on in the first sector now. Then, Felix says Gal for pole position, so he's just put in a last-minute prediction there in the stream chat. Well, let's see what Roke's first sector is like. It's 21.7 in the first sector. So let's see what Roke can do then as he comes out of the hairpin end of turn 5, as he'll make his way towards turn 6 and then the double right-hander of Samsung. Everybody else so far, 21.6 for Franco Gamba in the first sector, 22.0 for Roberto Gamba, 21.5 for Amar Khan in the first sector, 21.7 for Roland Motrin, as George Roke is now going to be approaching the end of sector 2 very, very soon, as he just comes out of Portimao now then. The second sector, 51.2 for Roke, as he's got a lot of head movements in the cockpit there. So through into the final few turns on the racetrack now then, as he makes his way into the second to last corner. I think I just saw on the top left there, it looks like a Ferrari is holding up somebody at the moment at Portimao, but I could be wrong on that. As Roke now then comes around the final corner and onto the pit straight then goes the Brit, as he's now going to cross the line and see what he can do. And it's a 1 minute 17.3, not the quickest we've seen around here. Here comes Franco Gamba across the line. He will go in the Red Bull. What can he do on this lap? And he goes quickest at the moment, but only by 800ths of a second. Roberto Gamba, his cousin now then, makes his way onto the pit straight. Across the line he will go, and he slots the third as Car goes fastest by 800ths of a second, despite being held up by Roberto there. So Car goes fastest for the moment. Motrin now goes fastest by 400 of a second. Now there's Lopez by 0.3 of a second with a 1 minute 16.8. Gal crosses the line, only 6 for him at this point in time. As we now look, Kirishima De Rosa now then, he just makes his way around the second to last corner, and now into the final corner will go the McLaren driver. Where is he going to place himself as he makes his way onto the pit straight? Across the line goes De Rosa. Where is he going to place himself? And he goes into 6th position. David Q-Poc now then in the Alpha Tauri. Across the line he will go. Not a very good few sectors there for Q-Poc, and he does not, and he goes only 9th with that, 2 seconds off. Did he make a mistake somewhere in the first sector? Let's have a look. And yes, he did. It was at turn 1. At turn 1, look, and look, just oversteer on the first corner there, and he went wide, so that's not very good for Q-Poc. He makes a mistake on his first lap there and finds himself over 2 seconds back from Franco Lopez at the moment, so very lucky to correct the car there. So anyway,
yeah.
As Chatfield now in, across the line, he goes second. What a lap for Chatfield!
Where's that coming from?
2 tenths off of Lopez. That is a very good lap for Chris Chatfield there to go into second place. Of course, we still need more improvements to come, of course, especially from the likes of Car. But an amazing first lap there for Chris Chatfield.
Yeah, indeed. Where the hell did he pick up that pace? Amazing.
Indeed so, he only just managed to get himself into Q3 in the last session, and now he finds himself at the moment on the front row. I don't know if he can keep that up, of course, because as mentioned earlier, we did see Carr get held up on his lap there earlier on, and there were a few mistakes as well, especially from his own teammate, but so far, very encouraging from Chris at the moment. Vote now then goes back into his garage. And we'll be waiting to see what he can do. And he now gets rolled back into his garage as there's just a few more cars that are still out on the track at the moment. He'll be coming back in. But at the moment, it's Lopez from Chatfield, Motrin, Carr, Franco Gamba, Roque, De Rosa, Gal, Roberto Gamba, and Q-Pox. So apart from Chatfield, Dennis, what did you make of those first runs?
Yeah, of course. Gal far off in the P8. It's of course very close between the top 8, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. Roberto Gamba was, I would say, slower. Didn't saw a mistake from him. So yeah, of course, Q-Puck will improve, that's for sure. Yeah, let's see who goes out first for the second one.
Wait and see, of course. Obviously, the first one that went out first was, of course, George Roque. So, see. It's actually going to be Franco Gamba this time by. He's going to be first on the track. So, a bit different this time by. It seems that Roque is just holding back for the moment, but he's going to be the first on the track on these sets of runs, of course. We have just over 9 minutes to go in this session. So, sadly, really. So now Gamba makes his way through into turn 3. And he'll be looking to see if he can improve as well. He should have some clear track in front, unless somebody comes out in the pits right in front of him, which would be a pain for him, that's for sure, given the pace he's so far shown in his qualifying session. Same for Miklos Gal as well. Garminardi just comes out of the hairpin. There's a few more cars have come out, including Motrin, Carr, and Roque. So there's 4 cars currently on the racetrack at this point in time. And now Gal has joined them as well. So Gal's the 5th car on the racetrack. Let's see if the second laps are going to be better for most of these guys, and whether Chatfield can actually hold on to second place. I think it's going to be a bit of an ass, personally, but you never know, of course. Anything can happen, as now Franco Gamba makes his way through into the hairpin, as he'll now make his way towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Now, you guys, I'm eating something there. It's rude to talk with your mouth full. So anyway, Franco Gamba now then makes his way onto the pit straight. He will now start his lap as there's a McLaren in front of De Rosa. Will that hold up Gamba at all? And let's see. And I think it has, because I think he's lifted off.
Yes.
And yep, he's been held up by De Rosa. So Gamba is not going to be happy with that one, I don't think.
Yeah, he will show him the Italian end. I'm sure.
Italian gesture.
Yeah.
It's not really. And in fact, he doesn't even get past him there into turn 5, which is a bit surprising there. But Franco, I don't think he's going to be particularly happy with Kirishima on that particular occasion. But all 10 cars now out on the racetrack. And it wouldn't surprise me if Gamba takes the wider line into Portimao as a result of being behind De Rosa. But we will see. And now through into Craig Jones he goes. Let's see what it's like going into Portimao. And yep, he's taken the wider line. And that's that really. In fact, he makes some understeer at the same time as well, just coming out the exit corner, a bit similar to what Evan Byrne had in the previous session. For anybody wondering, of course, why there's no Renaults in Q2, that's in Q3, that's because both of them got eliminated. Both Byrne starting in 11th and Galloway down in 16th position. So that really. As now Gamba comes around the final corner and onto the pit straight. Will now go, and he does not improve as expected, of course. So Roque now then on an improvement himself at this point in time. Let's see where he can manage as he comes down the pitch straight across the line, goes the winner of the German Grand Prix last week, and he goes up to second. He gets in front of Chatfield, but not by much though. It should be pointed out. Carr, meanwhile, on the improvement, can he get to the top of the timing sheets? No, he can't.
No, he goes second.
He goes second. Roland Motremio goes up to third. There's a green lap time there, I think. I just saw. in the middle sector for someone. I'm not sure who it was. As now here comes Miklos Gal. He goes into 6th position. It was Lopez. In fact, it seems that he's improving even more on his lap. This could be a big lap time here for Franco Lopez. He's currently on a 1 minute 16.8 as Lopez now then goes around the final corner and onto the pit straight now then. We'll go to the Argentine. Let's see what he can do. Across the line goes Franco Lopez, and it's a 1:16.4. That's the quickest we've seen today. A very big time there for Franco Lopez. Here comes Roberto Gamba, who's on the improvement. The Ferrari driver crosses the line, and he goes into 7th position ahead of his cousin Franco, who obviously got held up by De Rosa. Here comes Chatfield, who's currently now in 5th position. Can he improve on his lap? Nope, remains in 5th for the moment. His teammate Kupok is on improving at this point in time. He's makes his way out the final turn and onto the pit straight. Where is the German going to languish? And he's still in 10th on the same time as De Rosa. Speaking of which, De Rosa crosses the line, and he does not improve. Remains in 9th. De Rosa and Kupok on the same time at the moment. Luckily, it shouldn't confuse Yuri this time by, because the McLaren garage is actually higher than the AlphaTauri garage, so it should say the same list if it stays like that for the remainder of the session when we get onto the main menu screen. So that's that then, but a very big lap there from Franco Lopez, you'd have to say, Dennis.
Yeah, he definitely has his fade on. Half a second. He really flexing his muscles here.
Indeed so, nearly 0.5 of a second ahead of his teammate Armar Carr at the moment. And of course, let's not forget, Lopez has not had a win this season. Indeed so, if he keeps on to pole like this, unless somebody has got something up their sleeve like Armar Carr, that would be mega if he was able to pull something out of the bag. But at the moment, Lopez, who hasn't had a win this season, currently on the top, and so far could get his 4th pole out of 5 races this season. So that really is Roke will be waiting to go out for a second lap if he can, and Gamba, he'll be determined not to have any traffic on his lap this time by, as we believe there could be some more potential out of the car for him yet at the moment. So we will wait and see, of course, as we wait for the next set of cars to come out for their final laps of Q3. And so far it's Lopez from Carr, Motrin, Roke, Chatfield, Gal, Roberto Gamba, Franco Gamba, De Rosa, and Kubak, and it is Franco Gamba again going to be first on track, and he'll be hoping to not get anybody on the pit exit this time like we have with De Rosa. So he'll be keeping his fingers crossed on that one. That's for sure, Dennis.
Yeah, indeed. He needs a good lap to get a good starting position for tomorrow, of course. So let's watch his lap, shall we?
When it starts, of course, that is. Roke has also come out onto the racetrack. He's currently in 4th position, 4,000 behind his own teammate Roland Motrin at the moment. So interested to see what he can do as Garma now makes his way towards the double right-hander. Also on the track is Miklos Gal, so both Red Bulls have gone out onto the racetrack. Carr has also gone out as well. He's looking to see if he can try and find nearly 5 tenths on his own teammate to try and snatch pole off of him if he can. Garma now then makes his way towards the double right-hander of Portimao. There's still some cars in the pit lane, so Franco Gamba will be keeping his fingers crossed that there's no traffic on the exit of the pit lane like there was last lap around. Through the left-hander goes Franco Gamba. He will now come around the Sagres corner. The long swooping right-hander now then he will go. He will now make his way into the final corner and onto the pit straight he will now go. See, will he get any traffic on this lap this time by as he makes his way onto the pit straight, and just trying to have a look on the mini map, and it looks like he's going to get a clean lap in. There's nobody out on the track, so this time Gamba will get a clean lap in. So going into the first corner then goes Gamba. We'll be able to see what his first sector is like very, very soon as he makes his way through to turn 2 and into turn 3. Obviously his first lap he did a 21.6 in the first sector. Let's see what it's like on this occasion. And he is up on his personal best by 89 thousandths of a second. So let's see if he can find some more time in the middle sector. Through into the hairpin then goes Gamba. As he'll now make his way through the left-hander and then into the double right-hander of Samsung. And yeah, I was correct with that corner there. I thought for a minute I got myself confused. Through the right-hander he goes as he'll now make his way towards the flat-out Craig Jones corner. All 10, in fact, no, it's just De Rosa and Kupok who have just left to go out onto the track. Whether they will or not remains to be seen. They've still got a bit left. De Rosa has gone out, so it's just Kupok left to try and get one more flying lap in if he wants to. 1:10.
No, he's out on track.
Second sector. He's up on his personal best, but he needs to gain some more if he wants to get in front of the 2 racing points, that's for sure. As now into the second to last corner then goes Franco Gamba. Let's see what his last sector is like as he'll now make his way towards the final corner and onto the pit straight now. Then will go the Italian. And Franco Gamba is now going to cross the line. What can he do? Cross the line goes the Italian. And he goes up to third. That was a big improvement in the last sector there. Gamba goes up into third position. Here comes the George Rote now. Then he makes his way down the pit straight. Across the line he will go. And he remains in fifth position as Chatfield's about to start that very soon. As Gal is not up. In fact, he's... how far is he away in the last? In fact, he was up on his personal best in the first sector, I think, there, but lost time in the middle sector. So let's see if he can try and gain it back in the last sector then, shall we? Gal now then makes his way onto the pit straight, across the line, goes the Hungarian, and he remains in seventh. Wasn't able to gain it back as Carr is on improvement. Across the line he goes, and he goes second. That was so close. 300 off of Lopez. Motrin crosses the line, and he goes into fourth. He remains in fourth, but improves on his time at the moment. So here comes Roberto Gama now. They're making his way through the second to last corner now then, as he makes his way into the final corner and onto the pit straight now then will go Roberto Gamba. Let's see what he can do. He's currently in 8th position. Across the line will go the Italian, and he remains in 8th at the moment. Here is Chris Chatfield. He's down on his personal best in the first sector, as he'll now make his way through the double right-hander of Portimao. And he's still down on his personal best by a 10th, but so far it's been a pretty good qualifying session for Chatfield, being in 6th position ahead of the Red Bull of Miklos Gal at the moment. Through the left-hander, there goes Chatfield. He'll now make his way towards the Sagres second to last corner. And now into the final corner will go Chris Chatfield. Now round the final turn and onto the pit straight then goes Chris Chatfield as he makes his way onto the pit straight, and across the line will go Chris Chatfield, and he does not improve. As Lopez, meanwhile, is not up on his personal best at the moment. In fact, he's 300 down on his personal best in the second sector, but across the line he goes, and he does not improve, loses more time the last sector, and it's just De Rosa left who's just left to do a lap. He's currently in 9th position, looks like, and Kupok, of course, I forgot about him. Through the second to last corner, and then into the final turn will go Kibishima De Rosa, as he will now make his way onto the pit straight, and across the line now then will go De Rosa, and he doesn't improve, remains in 9th. Kupok crosses the line, remains in 10th. Those two stay on the same time, so it means that for the 4th race out of 5 this season, it is Franco Lopez who will take pole position for the first ever Portuguese Grand Prix tomorrow. So we're going to mute ourselves and let you see this amazing lap from Franco Lopez. That is how Franco Lopez took pole position for the first ever Portuguese Grand Prix. An incredible lap for him to do a 1 minute 16.4919. But the question is, can he get his first win of the season tomorrow? He's still lacking a victory here in 2020. Can a defending champion finally get a win on the board tomorrow in 2020? That will be the question. Well, here is the top 10 then of the grid. We've got Franco Lopez on pole with Amar Kar in second, another Mercedes front wheel lockout. Franco Garma third, with Roland Mutchard in fourth, George Roke fifth, Chris Chatfield, an incredible sixth for him in the AlphaTauri, with Miklos Gal in seventh, Roberto Gamba in eighth, and then it's Kirishima De Rosa in ninth, and David Kupok rounding out the top 10. De Rosa and Kupok, of course, setting the same time, but that is correct, guys. They are not the wrong way around. De Rosa is in ninth place, Kupok is in 10th. De Rosa, of course, is a garage above Kupok in the race. As my fire alarm decides to go off. Sorry about that if you can hear that, but what did you make of the session overall, Dennis?
Yeah, it's very exciting qualifying session. Sadly, not as close as the practice, but it was brilliant laps for both Mercedes, especially from Franco Lopez. Yeah, and of course, great performance from Chris Chatfield. So hopefully it will be a great race tomorrow.
Yeah, indeed. Again, apologies if you can hear some wailing in the background. Oh, it stopped finally. It was my fire alarm in the house just went off there. So apologies for that, guys. But anyway, that has been it then for the qualifying session here. Of course, we're not done with live streams because later on at 7 p.m. GMT, so in just over an hour's time, we'll be having the GP2 race here at Portimao, which sees Ruslan Protsiuk on pole position. Will he put the disappointment of Hockenheim behind him in this race and try and get a victory? We'll have to wait and see. But until then, I've been JW97. He's been Dennis Graff. And of course, we don't commentate the races tomorrow. We let George Roke do that for the highlights. But until then, take care.
Bye, have a good time.